Welcome back to The Explainer, everyone. I'm super excited you're here today because we're unpacking a highly anticipated update that just dropped on June 10th, 2026, specifically for all you developers and platform engineers building on the Claude Platform on AWS. Look, if you're managing self-hosted sandboxes, this is a milestone you absolutely have to pay attention to. We're going to break down exactly what this update is, how it works, and honestly, why it completely changes the game for your infrastructure. So let's just dive right in. What's waiting to be done? I mean, it sounds like such a simple question, right? But if you're a developer or an engineer trying to orchestrate self-hosted sandboxes at any real scale, you know for a fact that this single question has historically been the source of massive headaches. When you're managing agent workloads, knowing the exact status of your queue is literally everything. Without that visibility, well, you're basically just guessing. So that brings us to Section 1. The agent scaling challenge, and the problem of flying blind in self-hosted sandboxes. Okay, picture this. Think of your self-hosted sandbox like a wildly busy restaurant kitchen during the Friday dinner rush. You've got all these incredibly capable chefs, those are your AI agents, and they are ready to cook. But imagine if the head chef couldn't actually see the ticket rail. They'd have no idea how many orders of steak are backed up, if an appetizer ticket somehow got stuck, or if it's time to route new orders to a totally different prep station. That is exactly the black box problem you run into when scaling self-hosted sandboxes without a clear view of the pending work. You simply cannot manage what you can't see. Which leads us perfectly into Section 2. Meet the new endpoint, a brand new tool for your AWS toolkit. And here is the real hero of our explainer today. Anthropic just introduced this incredibly focused, highly practical addition to your toolkit on the Claude Platform on AWS. It's the get/v1/environments/id/work endpoint. And honestly, the structure here is just beautiful in its simplicity. You're simply making a GET request, and you identify the exact sandbox you want to check up on by passing its environment ID right there in the URL path. Boom. The response you get back tells you exactly what work is currently pending for that specific environment. To put it in plain, everyday terms, calling this endpoint is the programmatic equivalent of tapping your environment on the shoulder and asking, hey, what's still waiting to be done in here? It takes that incredibly complex black box orchestration challenge we just talked about and translates it into a single, direct question that your system can fire off at any time. All right, moving right along to Section 3, setting up IAM access, or navigating the AWS gatekeeper. Now, obviously, because we're operating on the Claude Platform on AWS, we've got to talk about security and access. API access here is strictly controlled through AWS IAM. So the absolutely crucial thing to remember is this. The principal making the request to this new endpoint must have the GetEnvironment IAM action authorized. This specific action is your absolute gatekeeper. Anthropic does have a dedicated reference page for all IAM actions, sure, but for our brand new pending work endpoint, GetEnvironment is the exact magic key you need. And this sets up a really logical debugging loop that you should definitely adopt right out of the gate. If you're integrating this endpoint and suddenly hit an authorization error, don't panic. Actually, your very first move should be to check your IAM policy. You want to explicitly verify that the GetEnvironment action is authorized for the specific principal you're using. Honestly, that is your absolute first line of defense when troubleshooting access to this new feature. Next up is Section 4. Unlocking true orchestration, moving from raw data to scalable architecture. Let's zoom out from the technical weeds for just a second and look at the massive architectural benefits this single endpoint unlocks for your managed agents infrastructure. By listing pending work per environment, you achieve this incredible level of observability. I mean, you can now build tooling that automatically checks queue depth to see if an agent is getting overwhelmed. You can actively monitor for stuck work, those lost tickets in our restaurant kitchen analogy from earlier. And maybe most importantly, you can make highly intelligent scheduling decisions based on exactly what is pending in real time. Ultimately, what we're looking at here is a fundamental building block capability. Sure, on its own, just asking what work is pending might not sound super flashy, but let me tell you, it is the foundational mortar for true scale. If you are operating Claude-powered agent systems and you want them to be resilient, highly responsive, and capable of massive scale, this is the exact building block that allows you to construct that reality. Finally, we hit Section 5, Master Your AI Agents, and where to find the complete manual. So if you're eager to get this into your toolkit, and frankly, you absolutely should be, your very next stop has to be claudemaster.net. That is your comprehensive manual for everything we've been discussing today.
It's where you're going to find plain English explanations of the API, deeper dives into the IOM setup we just walked through, and really all the core managed agent concepts in one convenient spot. Plus, it links directly out to the official Anthropic changelog and the IAM actions reference for this specific June 10th release.
All right, I want to leave you with a quick question to ponder as you look at your own infrastructure today. How will you orchestrate your agents tomorrow? Now that the black box of the self-hosted sandbox is officially open and you've got the programmatic tools to see exactly what work is pending, what incredible, highly scalable architectures are you going to build next? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, everyone. Stay curious, keep building, and I'll catch you in the next one.